Really pleased to be here. Really, really happy with coming to Blantyre, putting my feet on the ground in your country, feeling the energy and the warmth of your amazing people. For a start, that's amazing. So really loving being here. And secondly, really surprised and not surprised, I guess, because you expect Malawi to be a strong netballing nation and have talent like you do. But really surprised at how well the Malawi Queen's squad have accepted a foreign person coming in and working with them. So overall, I couldn't ask for a better welcome. NAM have been fantastic and it made me feel really comfortable and welcome, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting down to work.
Let's talk about the appointment. You were appointed as Malawi Queen's high performance consultant lead. What's in it?
Yeah, what is it? Good question. I think whenever there's a team that needs a reset or is looking for an opportunity to have I guess a different perspective on the game, it's really important to bring in people that can offer that and that can, I guess, respect first of all the history of the game and the people that are already involved in the game and the foundation that they have laid. So it's about bringing that together, but also looking forward and asking the question of how do we want to play, who do we want to be as a team, and how competitive do we want to grow the game in Malawi.
Did it come as a difficult decision for you to accept in helping Malawi?
It was not a difficult decision, I guess, because it came at a time when the Silver Ferns were in transition as well, and there was a lot of, I guess, disruption going on in New Zealand. So it came as an opportunity for a window of time to say, how can I support and help another netballing nation with the expertise that I've got.
I'm looking at your profile, and it's one that is so admirable. You've won the World Cup, you have won gold medals at the Commonwealth Games, first 5 games as well. You have done so well, and when we look at Malawi, one would think, why would they think of coming to Malawi? Really, why?
Well, I guess I'm at the stage of my career where I have this expertise in netball, and I also look for opportunities to stretch myself or to, I guess, challenge myself. Coaches are always asking athletes to challenge themselves, to hit targets and I guess explore their limits. So coming here was a way that I could actually apply my craft in a completely different setting and environment, and that's what it really attracted me to, the challenge. And because also as a opposition nation, I've always admired how Malawi have played. We scouted them for the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and were very concerned about playing Malawi at that time because of the way you play. Because the way you play as a country is not the predictable, repetitive nature that other nations play with. You play with, first of all, a really high spirit, and team connectivity is really tight. But secondly, you play, the athletes that you produce are amazing athletes for the skills that they have and the hard work that they put in.
Is that the perception that most top teams have in the world about Malawi?
Well, when we played in Birmingham, you had just beaten New Zealand in the previous Commonwealth Games. So there was absolute high respect for that. Of recent years, I think there's been a change of mature players so that always happens with every country. Every country has a renewal phase, unless you have a whole system that continually brings up these players, and you have competitions that can grow the players to an elite level really fast. But you don't seem to have that at the moment. It doesn't mean it can't be there. It doesn't mean it can't be created. So in the past few years, yes, there's been a decline in some of the Malawi's results, but that happens with every nation. sport changes overnight. And unless you're going to invest and support the young players coming through, but also provide an environment where your mature players can express themselves, then that's going to happen in every country.
You had so many trialists, you didn't have a backroom staff. What's been like the past 2 weeks?
First of all, I was very fortunate that NAM were very welcoming and supported me through this. And coming into the squad with the girls, they could have actually said, don't know about this foreigner coming in. But they were very welcoming and very open. And I guess that's another quality that is very admirable, is how open the squad were to trying to understand my English and accent and trying to...
Were they finding it difficult?
I think the New Zealand accent is a bit different than the American and British. Yeah, I don't know what our accent sounds like because it sounds normal to me, but I do have to slow down my speech sometimes, but the girls are fine.
What were your top priorities as soon as you stepped down? What were the things that you were looking forward to do?
I guess first of all, it's about looking forward and looking at, I know what the standards, requirements and expectations are going into Commonwealth Games, so I wanted to see and test the talent in Malawi to see where we're at. It's so important to start with a line in the sand, and athletes need to know themselves first, and then they need to know what they can give to the team. So we've done a lot of testing, and a lot of testing is new. I've been absolutely blown away by the Malawi University of Sport and Technology to have their support and their expertise working alongside us means that we bring a sports science base to inform us for selection. So selection's not just a subjective thing, it's more this is the objective data that we've got on athletes.
So the selection itself has to go through the use of science in the game itself.
Well, the thing about netball is that's one part of it. You've got to have the science to know how much capacity you've got as a team to keep up with the other teams. But then in netball, like in sport, there's what we call in New Zealand a gut feeling, an intuition. And that is a special quality that Malawi has. There's an intuition chemistry that goes on between your players that can't be coached. They have that understanding. So that's been really, as a coach, that's been very interesting to work with.
Having been with these players for the 4 trialists that you had to trim them to around 27, and not too sure whether you have now concluded the exercise of getting the 12 players that you'll travel with to Scotland.
Yes, well, we don't need to name the final date for the 12 players. It's early July. So the key thing about selection is you've got to keep each stage of preparation competitive. You can't just name your 12 now and hope that they'll hang on. It's like a phased process. So our next camp, we will invite players into that camp, and then we'll have another camp after that leads into the Commonwealth Games. All the way through, every month, the players will be tested again to see who can progress and who can evolve their game, and who can play the game style that we need to win games in Glasgow.
From our understanding, reading the statement from the Netball Association of Malawi, it says you're supposed to name your backroom staff.
Yes.
Where are we?
Well, again, we've got another camp in May, so it's really important, if you want an open and transparent process, that you bring everybody in. And because I'm new to the country, I'm not going to make blind decisions about people. So I want to have people in, I want to work with them, I want to see how hard they work, because that's the key thing. Because when you go to tournaments, you have to keep backing up. When we go to Glasgow, we've got 4 games in a row. 2 of those games are Australia and England, and then South Africa. So 4 games in a row is a hard task against those top nations. So I need hard workers. I need people that know their role. If you're that not understand and clearly know their role, and how to work with athletes, female athletes, and the team to bring out the best in them, to support them. And I've been really happy with the effort and the expertise that I've had.
Now, I've seen that in your technical team that is in the interim working with you. You have roped in Peace Chawinga-Kalua,
Yep.
the legend, as well as Mary. But we also have got the likes of Joanna, Jen Chimarito, and Beatrice.
Yes. And Garvey from the Kings.
And Garvey as well, for the Kings. What has been your overall assessment in terms of their work ethics?
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt, they know the game inside out. They know the game of netball inside out. The work ethic has been huge because of the demand. We've had 2 big trainings each day. We've played games against the Malawi Kings, and what I'm also working with them on is what systems work best for the team to train hard, at threshold, recover, get up, and go again and again and again. And that's the testing thing in high performance sport. There's a lot of young athletes that like the start of camp and like the first few days, and then hello. The hard thing is you've got to back up week after week, and it's repetitious, and so that's where you see the characters of the ones that will push through. And the backroom staff have been so supportive. You can't take away the knowledge and expertise that Peace and Mary have, from being legends of the game to being international coaches to sharing their craft with this young group. It's been hugely generous of them to do that and offer their time and expertise.
Talking about the selection of the 44 trialists, were you involved?
No, so the process for that was, what I understand is that players were nominated and offered the opportunity to come in, and there were a few that didn't come in. So what we've done is, again, the door's got to be always open. Okay. And the door has to be always open for anyone at any point in time, because we're a female sport, because, you know, there are family demands on women, so you have to keep the door open. And so what we've done is created, instead of like an under 21 squad, we've called it a development squad. So it's not age dependent. It means we've got this group underneath the Malawi Queens who can step up at any time, who are supported when we need.
Because I'm asking that question because of some of the controversies that came, particularly with some names that came up, and I think what came out as a shock was the inclusion of Joyce Mvula, who had announced her retirement from playing, and stated that she would rather want to bounce back as a person who would be in the technical team. How were you able to address that kind of an issue?
Yeah, I think with New Zealand, we have always included players of her standard, because she's a world-class shooter. So, and she's been an amazing pioneer of the international game for Malawi. So you don't want to, again, close the doors on people. So in New Zealand, a lot of those players prefer to remain in the squad so that they can mentor or work with other players. I actually didn't realise that she had completely retired, but again, when I spoke to her, I apologised for the misunderstanding, and it was really clear that she's still hugely supportive of the Malawi Queens, but at this point in time it's really important for her to step away and prepare for a new chapter in her life.
Before we break a little bit, what are the prospects of Mai Kumwenda joining your squad?
Oh, the prospects are very high. Okay. Again, she was somebody who I spoke to. She's still playing netball in Melbourne and still very keen to represent her country at the Commonwealth Games. So again, she will come into the camp like everybody else and have standards to meet.
Remember that this is In the Middle Sport right here on MBC, and today we have the high performance consultant lead for Malawi Queens, and this is Deborah Fola, who is with us, just sharing with us our thoughts about her experience in Malawi and of course how she has started her job as the lead for the Malawi Queens. We have another part to conclude, and certainly you cannot afford to miss this one. Stay tuned. Is Debbie the correct word to call you? Or is something that the global netball space has come to just feel it's the better way to call you?
You can either call me Debbie or Deb or Deborah. Yeah, Deborah is what's on my birth certificate. So my mother named me Deborah. And then, it does. Yeah, New Zealand calls me Deb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm not fussy. Just don't call me late for dinner.
All right, so Malawi currently ranked 9th. At least if we are to go by the latest rankings, it's one of the lowest that Malawi has ever achieved. I'm not sure whether you look at this as a huge blow in your rebuild exercise. Yeah,
it is a huge blow. It's a huge blow. Rankings are determined on the number of international games and the score differences and things like that. So for Malawi to drop down to 9th is a huge risk. It's a huge risk because if Malawi drop down even further, then the elimination from the Commonwealth Games could come into the equation. Also, when you look at the Olympics in 2032, and Liz Ellis would like netball to be part of that, if they take the top 10 teams, then again it's a huge risk and a huge missed opportunity for players. But the only thing that we can do within our control at the moment is to win netball games.
When you look at the current pool of players, do you think we have what it takes to get back to the glory days? Because the players that you have now, or the ones that you have inherited, some of them will be playing Commonwealth Games for the very first time.
Yeah.
Others have never even played at the World Cup that happened in 2023. They haven't been to Fast Five. They don't have that kind of experience. The quality that you have seen, do you think it gives hope that we can get back to those winning ways?
Yeah, I think, you've got to first of all understand why were those glory days the glory days. And I think back in those glory days, just talking to Peace and Mary about that time, that point in time was a huge commitment from them and that playing group at that moment, and they were a legendary playing group. So there is pressure on this playing group to lift Malawi again, and I understand that comes with every playing group. In all sports, you want to be at that point in time the best in the world. But what you need to understand is that it's a long process for athletes, young athletes, to learn the international travel, international competition, the fact that the opposition is very, very well resourced. And are playing in really tough competitions, but it doesn't stop you from training the habits that they are doing. So while you don't have competitions that are really tough here at the moment, it doesn't mean you can still train as hard as they do. You can still put things in place to match or better the training environment that the opposition have. So it's still possible. It's still possible, but it's going to take time. But the key thing is you've got the talent. They just have to be internationalised, and I think that's the thing. When you go into an international game, usually the team would have about 8 or maybe 500 caps, where the team, all those girls have played so many games for their country, whereas with this new playing group, they're young, there's not that high rate of international caps, so you've got to have a team with balance. You can't just go, we're just going to go all young. That's not going to do anything. You've got to have the guidance from the experienced players to help transition players through stages.
That's why I wanted to ask, others have a feeling that when you're talking about rebuild, it must be translated as dismantling the whole thing and starting all over. That's what people think. But I think I've seen you. You have the likes of Taekwondo Arwazi, Tandy Gareta.
She's amazing.
How do you describe their work rate and the like?
Taekwondo's work rate is, again, when I used to have to scout her as the opposition coach, she was a major threat.
What's she?
Because her possession rate was so high, she controlled the momentum of the game, and she was undefendable because of the quality of her movements. So to have her presence in the team is key for us all the way through, because she's going to give others confidence when they go into games to know that actually it's okay. Just do what you...
You know, there is one mentality that I don't know, but usually when we have players that have passed, say, the age of 30, some fans or some netball fans, I would say, they would say, no, this one is finished and should no longer be part and parcel of that. Why do you think we still need to have these players close to the squad?
Yeah, I think we still need them for the experience. And I also think that, you know, some of the best netballers were better when they got older. Irene van Dijk stopped playing when she was 38. She's the best shooter in the world.
They even become dangerous when they are older.
Again, when you look at female sport, women take time off to have children. So you have this moment where your body's recalibrating, then you can come back in. Some players come back better after having children because they have a greater appreciation for the time that they spend training. It's like an outlet from child rearing, and B, they have a greater appreciation that their time is limited, so time becomes quality. So I think it would be, yes, as long as the player is informed and as long as they're maintaining the standards, anyone can contribute. And I know people get impatient about wanting to see new things, but they've got to understand that with netball it takes time, and like anything in sport. And the squad, you know, the energy and the effort that these players are putting in is huge, it's massive.
So I'll go back to what you just said about how the universities are now helping in the team. What do you think was so much lacking in them? Are you able to check on their diet? Are you able to check on... Yep.
I guess it was the thorough testing that the university was prepared to do on each athlete, so that now we know what we've got. Now we know we've got so many who can sprint 10 metres in under 3 seconds. You know, now we know we've got so many players that can have a standing vertical jump of 60 to 70 centimetres. We know that. Yeah, so we're not guessing and saying you've got to get up and defend Grace Weki and you're only this tall, but the power and explosiveness of this athlete can actually contest the ball. So when players learn about where their limits are, they can actually feel confident that they can get up and contest ball and use their range of movement.
I think if we use this science effectively in the coming years, we might be another beast.
I think it's helpful. You know, when you're an athlete, all you want to do is play. Okay? So athletes just want to play, but there's got to be somebody supporting them through stages of learning and learning about themselves. The best athletes know themselves inside and out. They know what their vertical jump is, how much they weigh, what they have for breakfast, how many hours they slept, how many litres of water they drank yesterday. Have
you prepared a special diet for these players that you have in camp that they should probably look after their own bodies?
The interesting error I made was when I came in and I said, oh, they haven't got this and this, which is what the diet is elsewhere. But again, when Dr. Kumal came in from the University of Science and Technology and said actually Malawians have got the best opportunity for food because of all your organic food. Yeah. You've got avocados that are huge, you've got fish, you've got so much unprocessed quality food that there's no excuses about not eating well.
What's the program like in terms of monitoring the girls?
So we have got coaches in Lilongwe and coaches in Blantyre, and so the girls will spend, after camp they're going to continue with the national club competition for 2 weeks. Yeah. After that, at the end of March, they will start having supervised sessions in those 2 cities and strength and conditioning, and they'll be tested every month.
I'll be very much interested to know from you if at all you feel the crop of players that you have trained thus far have got the potential to ply their trade outside Malawi. Do they have space?
Absolutely. They can play in those international club competitions. There is no doubt about it. I would love to see them travel and play either in New Zealand, Australia or England. I think it will be wonderful. And again, that's what, if the competition isn't going to be provided here, then, and they want to be international players, what I'm trying to help them with is understand what they're going to go into when they go international. They're going to go into coaches that are going to monitor them, into training regimes that are going to test them often to see where they're at, and they're going to go into environments where they're going to be challenged and where connections and clubs have been really tight, so they have to force their way through that. So I would love the opportunity for more of your players to have international contracts.
You had 44 players, trimmed to 27. Should we conclude to say that the ones that were dropped do not have a chance to return to the squad, or do they still have a chance to return?
Everyone has a chance, and that is why when you can offer coaching sessions, when you are providing opportunities for athletes to be tested, they know that, okay, well, this is a standard I've got to get to. I might not be here now. You see, form in netball comes and goes. Yeah. You might be the top dog now, and then you're the bottom of the food chain. So it comes and goes really fast with injuries, illnesses. So it's really important that the big number of players in Malawi can all train hard and work hard and get to those standards. So they're supporting the next layer up and they're putting pressure on them.
Thank you so much for sharing your time with us, and we wish you safe travel, and we're looking forward to your return.
Thank you. Can't wait to get back.
Thank you so much. Well, this takes us to the very end of our discussion with Deborah, the high performance lead consultant for Malawi Netball Queens. She was just giving us a picture or an overview of what life has been like since our appointment by the Netball Association of Malawi. We hope that all netball lovers have been able to capture moments that she shared with us, and hopefully we'll keep the support that has been rendered to her during her stay before leaving for New Zealand. She's back in the country probably in May, in readiness for the Commonwealth Games. Till some other time, I wish you well. Bye-bye.
Programu yatsopano ya luso ndi chitukuko. Kalondolondo wa ntchito za bunga